What's up, you guys? Welcome to Gracies University. Sam Fernandez, Hidon Henner, and our very dedicated student and good friend, Vince Vaughn, here to talk about a critical element, and that is bullying. He has two kids, I have one, he has none, but we're all working on the same project here, and that is to prepare these kids for worst case scenarios. And one thing today that handcuffs children all over the world, for sure in the United States, where it's such a big deal, is this zero tolerance bullying policy at schools. This policy, meant to protect the victims, actually enables the bullies and handcuffs the children who adhere to the policy. And basically what it says is if you do anything, if you touch, push, anything associated with bullying, you're in trouble, you're gonna get suspended, you're gonna get detention, something's going to happen.
And the hopes, right? What do they hope for with that policy?
That the bullies don't do bad things.
Correct, but they're bullies and they're a little disobedient, so they're gonna do bad things anyways.
Well, and they do bad things that just barely hit the threshold of what is considered bullying, name calling, teasing, as much as they can get away with, and then the person who's being targeted by this kind of insidious behavior, over time it just builds up, but they cannot defend themselves because the policy says if you do something, everyone gets in trouble.
Yeah, and guys, every time you have a zero tolerance policy, it never takes effect until someone stands up for themselves. So if I jab you, no one has zero tolerance.
Boom.
And then you fight back and now we're both in trouble.
So the question is, what is the solution and what must, because to have a good child who adheres to these school policies, it's unfortunate because the fear of getting in trouble with the school and the fear of getting in trouble with their parents paralyzes them into submission and ultimately victimization to that bully for as long as the bully wants to get away with it. So, Vince, what do we do?
Well, it was really my entry into jiu-jitsu was finding a self-defense for my daughter that I thought was actually practical, that could work. What I liked about it here was when I came to the first class, it was really the philosophy that was the most empowering. You know, you demystify the internalizing that can happen. A kid might go, well, there must be something about me that deserves to be called these names. And then there's a shame. They don't communicate with the parents because they don't want to come home and say, someone made me feel bad or picked on me. So you kind of, by talking about it, it's a good dose of sunlight, and you start that conversation where it's no longer some dark hidden thing. It's something that's, you know, understood. They can process what's happening to them better.
Critical, yeah. And we think that's such a huge element because if kids don't understand what's happening to them, they can't defend against what's happening to them. If your child believes that if standing up for themselves, they're gonna get in trouble with the school, they're not gonna stand up for themselves. And if they believe they're gonna get in trouble at home, they're also not gonna stand up for themselves. So it's up to the parent to tell the child absolutely 100%, regardless of any school policy, you have our support in standing up for yourself against any bullying that takes place.
You mentioned that I had two kids, he has two kids, one kid. We also have thousands of kids that we teach through Gracies University and hundreds of kids in this building. And when they walk in this room, parents and children, they hear this. Yeah. If you get in a fight at school, it's okay. So now the parents are being told by us
indirectly
that it's okay.
And the reason it's okay is because with jiu-jitsu, remember, we're not advising to punch and beat up the bully and, you know, bloody lip. We're teaching very gentle and humane tactics to just kind of get a hold of them, put them on the ground, control them. What do we say? Neutralize that fire, or fight fire with water.
That's the key to it too, is that the child is not going to go in a chaotic manner where they could cause serious injury to the bully. A lot of times these are kids, and all kids test boundaries and learn the lessons. And the nice thing with this program is, you know, coming here gives them an outlet. They kind of, you know, that energy that they kind of want to know where they're at, or wrestling, it gives them an environment to do that, and it starts to make them conscious about how to treat other people. So I think it's good for you, helping your kid be more aware and considerate to others. And then if they do engage, what's the conversation?
Right.
My child held your child down.
Right.
Until the teacher came. My child felt threatened. He asked him to stop. Here's the good news. No one got a bloody nose, no one got hurt, and they can be friends because there isn't an energy between them where someone really hurts somebody.
Yes.
So you're actually building bonds. When I grew up, it wasn't uncommon for people to get into a fight. It wasn't considered so taboo. And more often than not, you would become friends afterwards. It was a way to kind of, okay, this guy can take me, or I can take him, and now we're past that issue. And I think what you're saying is so right. I have a friend who's a vice principal, and she has kids who come into the class when this has been going on forever to her office, and she has said to them many times, you always have the one option.
What does she mean by that?
She's leading the kid to physically stand up for himself or herself.
But she can't say that.
She can't say it. And the kid
This is very interesting.
And the kid will say, but if I do that, it's a 2-week suspension. And she says, that's true, but you'll have to decide if
Wow.
that is worth making it stop.
Now, we're not going to name this principle.
But why is this happening?
That's awesome.
Because the kid is being so name called, so flicked, so tormented, such a map that people are walking on, that the rules that the teacher has at her disposals cannot keep the kids safe. And what happens sometimes, which we've all seen, someone gets so hurt and so frustrated that they do something extreme. They pick something up.
And well, those are the Columbines. I mean, it gets out of control. You have school shootings, you have youth suicides that are commonly associated with bullying, which is the worst case scenario. And like you said, back in the day, Chicago, right, growing up, having a little fight, sometimes you get down, it solves it, it puts it out. It's a release valve on the pressure that's built up.
And I think it was more the time frame. It wasn't, you would be by the bike rack. It wasn't seen so much as the end of the world. And I think the overcompensation has led to exactly what you said, an environment where the bad kids are going worse.
And now the zero tolerance is to try to stop that, but it's actually worsening it.
And these principles, she doesn't even know about the idea of using jujitsu techniques.
She doesn't know.
We're talking about how nonviolent they are. She's thinking that
someone's going to punch someone in the face.
There might be a little bit of hitting.
Yes.
Because that's what she thinks fighting is.
Imagine if she knew.
Imagine if she knew. She might allow two 7-year-olds to grapple.
Please.
Even if you tell your child, if someone bullies you, stand up for yourself, punch them in the face. Why do kids not do that? If
that's true. Even if their parent permits them to,
it's all good.
Kids still don't do it.
They don't have the skill. They don't have the skills.
There you go. People are not willing to set boundaries that they're not capable of enforcing.
So what's great with bully proof is your jujitsu starts just in the social interactions. You run through scenario after scenario.
That's true. The verbal
discriminating. What is a friend? Who should you be around? How should you respond?
The peer pressure situations.
Go push Bobby in the mud. No.
Yeah, and what Vince is talking about,
do it and I'll tell everyone.
some of you guys have not seen this, but what Vince is talking about is all of our classes include that element of creating actual relationship situation role-playing that kids can go through, because that's where the fight always begins. It doesn't start with the hands up and John McCarthy between the two saying, are you ready? When does a child learn how to respond to that weird, awkward pressure of the social environment?
And if you stop that first boundary getting crossed with confidence, don't do that anymore.
Think about how many battles.
Maybe you're not going to get to the 10th boundary where you're going to be forced to grapple.
He's bully proof, you guys. The problem is the schools are doing so much. That was awesome, bro. He must be an actor or he's actually bully proof. One or the other.
But to your point, are you going to be confident to do that if you don't feel like you
hollow.
can enforce it?
If it's hollow.
And a lot of times, if you just believe that you could, it will send a message that you're not the person.
And that belief begins with learning something. But here's what's crazy, you guys. The schools are doing so much to traumatize your children to do nothing physical and to be involved in no interaction. What that means is the home team, the parents at home, you have to have a louder voice and a more convincing energy than the school has to prevent those behaviors. You're actually in a battle against the school policy to make sure your child is not restricted or handcuffed, to the point where the pressure builds up and they don't say anything, and little by little it builds up and every balloon pops eventually. Gracie's certified training centers at gracieuniversity.com. We have over 150 around the whole world. If you live near one, you have to get in there, try it for 10 days, tell them the team in Torrance sent you there. They're gonna hook you up and take care of you just like family. If you don't live right next to a certified training center, every summer in the last week of July, we hold bully-proof summer camps specifically for kids who live far and need to travel to be immersed for an entire week, 3 hours a day, 5 days straight in this type of training. All the things we're talking about, boundary setting, techniques, nonviolent control holds, discussing zero tolerance policies so that your child hears that from us and from you. All of that takes place at the end of July. We'd love to have you there. bullyproofsummercamp.com. We have dozens of locations around the world where this camp is happening, not the least of which is here at Gracies Jiu-Jitsu Heaven, Gracie University in Southern California. When all else fails, you guys, take it back to the Chicago suburbs, you guys. Just a good old-fashioned fight, solve it, and you're all friends. I'm telling you, I endorse Vince's behavior.
Cut that.
Thank you guys, much respect, much appreciate it. All right, you guys, we'll see you soon.
Rule number 1, avoid the fight at all costs. Rule number 2, if physically attacked, defend yourself. Rule number 3, if verbally attacked, follow the 3 T steps: talk, tell, tackle. Rule number 4, never punch or kick the bully, establish control and negotiate. Rule number 5, when applying submissions, use minimal force and negotiate.